watch
How?
this?
How?
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 Ew,
How do you watch this?
Dude, I'm gonna pee my pants.
Hello, you're listening to How Do You Watch This, a movie review podcast where each week we give each other a movie to watch in the genre we love, but they don't. My name is Demi and I love horror.
My name is Megan and I love romance.
And this week I had Megan watch The Lost Boys, a classic vampire 80s cult classic.
Sorry, I forgot to put my pop filter on.
I can hear all your pops.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I don't remember what you last said. I just got distracted by myself.
It's just a cult classic vampire film where I remembered how hot vampires really are. Because 80s and 90s vampires are the real sexy ones.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot all about it. So
yeah, we'll talk a lot about the vampires, the attractiveness of them.
Yeah, you're gonna have to rate each one.
Okay, I'll pull up a picture of them and we can give them each a rating. So the director was Joel Schumacher. It was released in 1987 and it's a horror comedy or comedy horror. It really leans more towards comedy than it does horror.
Definitely.
My snapshot is trying to impress a girl. Newcomer Michael drinks mystery wine and turns into a half vampire. Now he and his brother Sam are on a mission to turn him back. The Lost Boys opens on a boardwalk at night where a group of punk boys hop onto a merry-go-round and make people upset by their presence.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they harass a few people, but I was very distracted by the hairstyles.
Yeah,
I was just like,
they were crazy.
It was unreal. Like the one dude had just like, it was like a mohawk, but with like a curly sort of fro vibe.
Yeah, well, because the main vampire played by is it Kiefer Sutherland?
Yep.
What's his name? He had just quite the blonde hair.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like, you know what? He pulls it off.
Yeah,
but
he
that
actually
one
does pull it off. Yeah.
Yeah, the one vampire with the long hair, babe. The one who was wearing just a leather jacket.
Oh.
Shirt. I was like, he's fine.
Okay,
The
that's
rest of
fair.
them, I'm like,
That's fair.
no, they're too wacky looking for me.
Yeah. Okay, that is. I was like, okay, because we're gonna obviously get into the smash or pastedness of them later. But I was like, I want to say that I would smash them, but I would not.
Any of them?
I don't know. Maybe long-haired guy, but I wasn't paying attention much to him. I was focused on David, and he can.
David was the main one.
The main one. He can rock the blonde hair, but there were too many moments when I looked at him and I was like, what's going on with your face right now? Like, it was just the blonde really washed him out, where like he just looked like all head. And in the poster, he looks pretty attractive. I'm like, okay, poster David, yeah, I would probably smash. But David, especially, all I can see in my mind's eye is him with the fangs.
That's very fair. I think he's very sexy. I say he could get it, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Also his personality wasn't it, but like I wanted to say smash. I really did, but for me it's not gonna be. I'm so sorry.
I feel like that's a wrong answer.
I know that you were saying that. I was talking to Jackie about it earlier, and she was talking about how hot all of them were, and I was like,
I would say not all of them, but I mean, definitely David, I would say, was hot. But that long-haired one, I don't even know his name.
Yeah.
I was like, he's
fine.
fine.
Find a good picture of them. If you can find a good picture.
Okay.
This one is them.
You know, this one's pretty good. The only one who's like really not attractive is the small blonde one. The rest, I'm like, you know what? They could maybe get it. Look at the mullet on. Oh.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, the little blonde one is not.
He's not.
I'm so sorry, pal, but it's not happening. The other ones, yeah, it could be, but...
It's funny because the one with the long blonde and the dark hair look exactly the same.
They really do. They really are just copy and pasted, but like with different hairstyles.
We need the strongest jawlines possible.
Yes. I'm going to look up Kiefer Sutherland 1987. I want to see what he looked like with regular hair. Never mind.
What was he rocking in the very?
He actually looks better with the vampire hair, if I'm being honest.
I think it's just the punk look. You know,
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
very. He's got the earrings, and yeah, it's not a good haircut at all.
No.
But I don't know. He brings the vibes. He's.
Yeah. Let me.
If not, he's just like a white trash looking dude, and he still looks like white trash in Lost Boys. But at least there's something more to it.
Yeah. This is. That's the picture of him with his slick back, and I'm not.
Yeah. No, he's just like an average dude.
Yeah, he just looks like a guy, but he definitely
He's a guy.
is like.
He's
I feel
got
like he's
nice
attractive.
eyes.
He's got something
Yeah.
going on up there. Anyway.
Yeah. Up there. I think he's one of those where you have to like hear him talk and
Yeah,
you know, like
you
he's
just have
got
to hear
some
him
really
like
better
growl
photos,
at
but-
you in vampire sounds.
Yeah.
Got
Some
it.
people just don't look as good in photos. Like they're just better in person or in
motion?
video. Yeah.
That's fair. This is a picture. I think he's on the far left. He looks kind of hot, like he's about to take over
Okay.
the frontier.
Yeah, he's
You know.
he's ready to colonize my ancestors.
Wait, is this just all the Lost Boys but with different hair? Like, look, it's all
Yeah, wait.
the one guy with the long black hair, the two short blondies,
What movie is this? They're all the same people.
Young Guns.
Young Guns. Anyway.
Okay.
Ugh. So, bunch of delinquent looking
Right.
bastards.
Right. They are
Upsetting
pure
people.
punk.
Yeah.
And apparently they're probably doing something like inappropriate, but I was a little distracted by the way they look. Okay. So the sheriff, police officer, security guard, I don't know, whatever he was, kicks them off of the merry-go-round.
Mm-hmm.
And later, as the sheriff is walking to his car, we see him get literally abducted into the sky by like unseen hands. And you know, it's not an alien. It's, spoiler alert, it's a vampire.
Yeah, they flying.
they do be flying. I thought that they were going to turn into bats, but we'll talk about later how they apparently travel. So the opening credits are brought in alongside our main characters, a small family of 3. The mother, Lucy, has recently divorced the father of her sons, Michael and Sam. They're on their way to Santa Carla, where Lucy's father lives. And for those familiar with actors' names, Lucy is played by Diane Weist, Michael is played by Jason Patrick, and Sam is played by Corey Haim. We never learn the ages of the boys, although it's implied they're off for the summer before school starts. In real life, Jason Patrick was 21 and Corey Haim was... Okay, it's supposed to say 16, but I wrote Corey Haim was 1. So that...
1 year
He
old.
was 1 year old. No, he was 16 approximately. And I obviously had to look because I wanted to talk about the attractiveness of...
Yeah, I also looked. I was like, let me make sure this man is an adult.
Yeah.
He definitely looked like an adult, but
Yeah, he looked like an adult. That I know.
God, he's so fine.
He's very attractive.
So fine.
He had...
I wish he had more product in his hair.
Yes.
But, you know, it's fine. It's the 80s.
Right. I understand
So cute.
that it wasn't of the, era, but his jawline was on point. Like, it was like, and like, look, this picture too. Sorry. I'm just sending Debbie pictures of him. This is great.
He's
for him.
he's so cute.
He's
I was
really
like in love with this man all
Yeah.
over again. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's
if I was
fair.
Star, I would have been like, yeah, boy,
Yeah,
follow me.
no problem. Yeah, there's no
No
surprise why
problemo.
she made eyes at him because obviously. So when approaching the house, we get our first glimpse of the grandfather who's absolutely out of his mind. This man is passed out on the front porch like he's dead. And the mother's like, oh, don't worry about it. He's just a heavy sleeper. And it's
Yeah, she's like not concerned.
yeah. And so this is just this old man who's goofing off. And this is the perfect introduction to this movie because
Yeah.
this grandfather, the energy he brings is the epitome of the Lost Boys. So we learn a few things about the grandfather in the process of the movie and also in the next 5 minutes. He loves to do taxidermy. And I honestly think it's a hobby. I don't think this is a career for him.
Yeah, no, I assume he's retired.
Yeah. He grows marijuana outside the kitchen window, which explains a lot.
Yes.
He has a special shelf in the refrigerator labeled Old Fart where he keeps his root beer.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to read the TV guide so that he doesn't have to actually watch TV. He has a special red room, very different from the red room in 50 Shades of Grey, where he does his taxidermy.
That's where he sees the widow Johnson.
Yeah, he does. And throughout the movie, the grandfather will leave his creation in the poor boy Sam's room. And that would, like, genuinely haunt my nightmares. This kid, like, wakes up at one point and there's an owl staring at him. Like,
there's, like, a different animal on the nightstand.
Like, every day.
And they're very well done taxidermy, but they're creepy, obviously. They're in, like, an attack pose.
Right. It's
not
just,
what you want to see.
No matter what, it's like it's a dead body. Like, whether or not there's a... it's done well or not, it's there.
I've seen people get taxidermy of their pets after they pass away, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I could never do that.
And I'm not being judgmental because, like, to each their own, whatever, but also, like, I've seen a dead human body before. That sounds, like, really wrong. I went to a viewing. I've been to viewings in the past.
Right.
And when you go to a viewing, you see the body. Yeah. And you're like, there's nothing left in that vessel. That vessel is empty. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it would just be super depressing to have your pet.
I know.
Because then you're just looking at that pet and you're like, that's not a pet anymore. That's not my pet.
Yeah. It's just a shell.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
No, I could not. That would not be comforting to me. Yeah.
I'm also just not a fan of, like, I think it's a fantastic art.
Taxidermy does play a role in a lot of these horror movies.
Yeah, it's the weird hobby. It's how to make someone weird. Yeah. So sorry to taxidermists.
Yeah. So that night, the boys go to the boardwalk and watch an incredibly oiled up man singing sax all over the place. This was obviously the most memorable scene. I knew it was coming, and I wasn't expecting it so soon. I was like, I was waiting. I don't know what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be like mid-movie or something. But it is like immediately, this man is belting it out. He looks like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger, lubed up.
He's ripped. Apparently, he was pumping weights before.
Not surprised.
Like recording, so they.
Oh my god.
So he looked jacked.
Yeah.
And but yeah, his name's Timmy Capello. He's known as the oily saxophone player, and he was part of the touring band for Tina Turner.
Oh, interesting. So was that him actually singing then?
I guess so. He seems to be a pretty good musician. I mean, he was part of her comeback tours in the mid 1980s.
Okay. He was very memorable. I wrote that as my most memorable scene just because, like, what?
It's what everyone remembers.
Right. I was besides myself. There are probably other great scenes. I'm going to quote some great quotes that I loved, but that was just, like, an iconic scene.
He sounded good.
Yeah.
It's just such a goofy, like...
It's so
okay, yeah, he's an oiled up saxophone player.
Yeah. So off stage, temperatures rise as Michael gives some poor girl the creepiest eyes ever. He is staring into her soul. This is not some, like, cute, like, look, glance over, look back, glance away. He is staring her down. And I was like...
As fine as he is... He had the big puppy eyes. Okay?
I know. He has permission. However,
he was staring into her soul for real, though. Like, he was in love immediately.
She is very pretty. I loved her hair.
I know. I'm like, man, I should just not put any product in my hair and just
you think you'll look just like her?
I'm sure it will poof up just like that. I'm being sort of serious. Although she pulls it off, I cannot. I don't know. Anyone else can pull off frizzy curly hair. I cannot pull off the
That's because it's you.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, you think that everyone else can do it and you can't, but that's just because you're the one looking in the mirror. And that's on positivity, Demi. Come on.
Thank you. Maybe for the summer I will
just
go no hair product. Just go for it.
It'll be like your full 8th grade self.
Right.
Okay. So she, of course, saw his jawline and gave him eyes back because who wouldn't?
Mm-hmm.
But I said that the staring he was doing, for me, it wasn't giving Darcy. It was giving like a little bit to it. Like so
it's definitely submissive staring.
You think? Because
yeah.
Okay.
Darcy for me was more Well, depending on which Darcy. The movie Darcy kind of give more of a like puppy dog vibe.
Yeah.
But I feel like Darcy stares are more like, I need to be with you right now. Whereas this guy, Michael, was more like, please spit on me. So I think there's a difference.
All right. Okay. We'll see if we can screen grab a picture of his eyes.
Yeah, you know, a screen. Yeah, and do Darcy side by side too.
Okay. Fair enough. Meanwhile, Lucy, the mother, is wandering around the boardwalk and happens upon a video store where the owner, Max, flirts with her and gives her a job. Sam, on the other hand, goes into a comic book store and meets the Frog Brothers, who warn of vampires in town. He is given a survival manual, which is just a vampire comic with the boy's number on the back. And Sam makes a great joke about the comic book store where he said, I thought it was a bakery. And I was like, ha, because the parents were stoned. And I was like, oh my God, that was a great joke. I was really, really impressed by that one.
The comic book is an original made for the movie, but
great.
it's still at that comic book place. Like you can go to that comic book store and take a photo with it if you wanted to.
That's really cool. I'm like condensing the timeline a little bit here because there is a little bit of back and forth, and it's just unnecessary. So just if anyone is like a diehard fan and they're like, that's not
you
the
didn't say everything the Frog Brothers said. Everything they said was so good.
So Michael attempts to meet Star, but sees that she's with the creepy punks from the beginning of the movie. The next day, he gets the nerve to talk to her and ends up in a bike race against David, the leader of the little gang. This bike race involves no helmets or eye protection, and let me tell you what, that was definitely needed with the amount of dust coming up. And
yeah,
I don't know, have you ever driven at high speeds on a motorized vehicle? Okay, so I have. Sorry, I forgot that not everyone grew up with four-wheelers. I don't like to assume. So, you know, I'd like to give equal opportunity. I sound like I'm very wealthy, grew up very wealthy, but it was not that situation, but whatever.
You just lived in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. So I was a little speed demon with it, and I'm lucky I'm alive today. There were multiple occasions where I probably should have died, or maybe I did die. This is just hell.
You're
but
just
so basically, I've had it before where I've driven behind the quad behind another one, and you see a lot of dust come up. And let me just tell you, you can't keep your eyes open the way they're keeping their eyes open. You gotta have a little squinty eyes, and it hurts. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah, because they're driving in like the California desert.
They're on the beach, sand everywhere. I was like, there's no freaking way. You would be blind. You all would be blinded. I don't care about the vampires. Like you're not healing fast enough from that. Come on. You
at least Michael would be blinded.
Right. At least Michael would be blinded. So the fact that none of them were like, fine, you're irresponsible. You're not wearing helmets. Like I've also made that mistake before. However, the goggles just...
Yeah,
shake
it's too much. It's
too much. I just brought me right at the moment. So David tries to trick Michael into driving off a cliff, but everything ends up being okay because David invites him back to their little cave. And I feel like by this point, I would have been like, listen, Star's hot, but she's not worth all this.
No, definitely not. Like, that's some real commitment. I could never.
No.
I'm sorry. Like, if I saw someone like Michael, you know, I wouldn't go that far. I would not go in a cave with a gang of
miscreants who tried to get me to die, basically.
Yeah, I'd be like, all right, if you really are into me, you can find me on the fucking board.
Right, let's go get a slice of pizza.
People.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. And the fact that, like, she clearly is one of the followers of David, and
right,
kind of just doing whatever he wants, which is like, girl, where's your independence? I don't know. There's so much that's left unexplained in this movie, and that's one of those things where it's like, why does she follow everything David says? But okay, I think I know why. But
I mean, yeah,
now that I said that, it's because of Laddie, probably. But we'll talk about Laddie. Fucking Laddie. Okay. So we'll talk about him right now, because the next line in my notes was, we see that there's a child in this mansion-esque dungeon, which is never explained. They never explain. You see missing child posters for Laddie. Yeah. All you ever know is that he is a child. he has been turned into a half vampire, and Star is trying to protect him from David this whole time. Why did they turn a child into a vampire?
So I read that he was supposed to be just a companion for Star. So I think Star was probably intended to be a partner for David, and maybe she was just like unhappy, so he got her. So did you watch Interview with a Vampire?
I know.
Do you hate Brad Pitt?
No, I don't. I really like him, actually.
Because young Brad Pitt is the equivalent of young Johnny Depp. So
I know.
It's really unfortunate.
It's actually something I want to watch, and that's been on my list for a while, and it just hasn't happened. So pick it for me to watch.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's horror enough. Next movie.
Okay,
I can't do 2 vampire movies in a row, but
I don't know. Can't you though?
Other week we can do Vampire Thread next time.
Okay.
Anyway, there's kind of a similar theme in that one as well, with like a vampire child. So I don't know if it's a thing where, you know, having some sort of child to look after, they thought maybe would make Star kind of feel like she has a purpose more than like, you know, just being like a husk of a shell.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's like my thinking. But I read somewhere that Laddie was supposed to be like a companion for Star.
Okay. All right. That makes more sense. Ish. Okay.
Unless they were planning on just eating him, and Star was like, no.
Right.
So that could also be a thing.
Okay, fair enough. So the punks mess with Michael's head, and they basically try to convince Michael that he's eating bugs or worms, and it's just like Chinese food. So they, again, don't explain this, but they have some magical powers where they're able to warp his perception, where basically they're like, do you want this rice? And he starts eating the rice, and they're like, it's maggots, and he looks down and it's maggots, and then he spits it out, and then it's rice again. And
well, I mean, traditionally, didn't vampires have some sort of hypnotizing ability?
Probably, but I mean, listen,
vampires.
I don't know all the lore.
I think that's probably what it was, because it seems like they have a lot of traditional vampire abilities. So
yeah, I know the true where vampires came from originally, because I listened to an episode of Lore, and it's basically based on tuberculosis.
Nice.
But I won't go into all of it. You should listen to the Lore episode. It's really interesting. But essentially, the fact that people would get really pale and sickly, and then they would die, except that they weren't really dead, and then like because they
with
just
the
like
bell, right?
Yeah, the bell and stuff. So anyway,
that's horrifying.
Very terrible.
Okay, I know most of your vampire knowledge is probably from Twilight.
Yeah, no.
To be fair,
it's
should
very
be
limited.
Like only.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I'm sure there's been other vampire things, but
yeah, I mean, main ones were Lost Boys, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Interview with a Vampire. Well, you saw the Dracula.
Yes, I did see the original.
So that's something else you learned about vampires. They have some sort of hypnotism.
Thank you for filling me in. Next time I'm tricked by someone, I'll be like, I know what you are.
Stupid vampire. Think you got me?
Nice try. So David offers Michael a mysterious bottle of liquid, and Star tells Michael that he doesn't have to drink it, it's blood. But Michael has been tricked enough for the evening, and he drinks it. And yeah, so dumb. You don't drink mysterious liquid ever.
Yeah, ever.
So a strange montage follows, and essentially what occurs next is the boys are just doing boy things, and they go running off into the woods, prancing through, and then they dangle from like a bridge that a train passes over, and the train goes over and it's rattling hardcore, and then they all one by one start dropping, and Michael's like, I'm not gonna drop or whatever, and then his fingers just can't hold any longer, and he lets go and he falls, and it's this very dramatic fall scene, like Alice in Wonderland style.
This scene of me cracking up because he's like, ah, and at one point he stops and he goes, ah, and he scream again. It's so dramatic.
You're so right. I totally forgot about the pause he did.
So I think he was like, am I floating?
Right. Yes. That's where it's like, because I thought he was maybe realizing he was flying or floating, and then he just starts screaming again. And then the next scene, he's like laying in his bed with his dirty ass shoes on his pillow.
Disgusting. No, I was so upset.
Dude, I saw
even sleep the other way around. You slept with your sneakers on the pillows.
It doesn't matter what has happened to me in life. What has happened to me in life. I turn into a vampire. I have had mysterious liquid beverages. I'm not falling into my bed.
You would think you would fall normally because you're like naturally, you know?
Right. Like you have to try you have to try to lay in bed that way. And you didn't take your shoes. First of all, you didn't take your shoes off, which is abysmal, horrible. It's bad enough to lay in a bed normal ways with your shoes still on, but to put them on your freaking pillow?
Ugh, it was so disgusting for me. I'm like, Michael, please. Yeah, you're lucky you have a great jawline, but this is pushing. You're pushing it right now.
This is a red flag. Okay.
Definitely a red flag.
He was giving me the ick. Okay. So meanwhile, at the main house, what happened the previous night, there was like a flashback scene at one point, and the only important thing that I took from it was that Lucy goes up to Sam at one point because he was scared about his closet door being open, and Lucy, the mother, goes, yeah, I'll be 100% honest with you. One of the reasons I divorced your father was because he never believed in the closet monster. Like, lady,
why would you tell your kid?
Why would you tell your kid that? First of all, you're like, it is just like pitting your kid against his father and being like,
father,
I understand you. Your dad doesn't.
Yeah, he sucks really bad. And also, the monster exists. So yeah, definitely keep the closet closed.
Yeah, for sure. So the following night, presumably, I don't know if this like timeline is condensed because they talk about him.
Yeah. It's I'm not sure. It feels like maybe a few days passed, but also, I don't know, maybe just like a day.
It might just be sped up a little bit. So Lucy has a date with the video store owner, Max. And the other important thing that happens is that the grandfather uses Windex as aftershave, which...
Oh my God.
is, okay, sir, that's a terrible choice, but sure. Michael tries to drink milk while everyone's away, and he has debilitating pain, which is kind of like me when I have too much dairy. So Sam is taking a weird bath. I don't know how old he's supposed to be, but it's giving like 6-year-old, and he's definitely not 6. He's just like...
It bit the most bubbles ever in a bath.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of bubbles. And the fact that this is actually like a 16-year-old boy playing this, it's like hilarious because no one at 16 was taking a bubble bath to that extent, at least.
I think he's supposed to be in the movie probably like 14.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe like 13, 14, and Michael's like 17, maybe.
Yeah. So Michael tries to enter the bathroom like a predator, but luckily the dog Nanook saves the day by attacking him and biting his hand. Sam comes out of the bath, goes downstairs, is like, you know, what's going on? He yells at Michael for scaring Nanook, and I was like, yeah, your priorities are straight.
Protect your dog, yeah.
And Sam makes Michael look in the mirror, and they see that Michael is now see-through, and he says, and I quote, "You're a vampire, Michael. You wait till Mom finds out, buddy." I said that was...
My brother is a creature of the night.
That was literally the best line of the whole film. I was cracking up.
Not that phased.
Yes.
At this point, he's just like, oh, wait till Mom finds out that you are a vampire. I love this character. He's so fucking
good.
Funny.
Yeah, he really is. So Sam calls the boys from the comic book store, the Frogs, and the best they can offer is they're like, you need to kill your brother with a stake through the heart.
Yeah.
And Sam's like, I'm not doing that. In the other room, Michael falls asleep and starts levitating. And so I guess that's how vampires fly. Sam ends up talking to the mom on the phone. She calls from the restaurant, and he's screaming. And Michael starts screaming from the other. He's like, Michael's floating outside the window, holding on by the telephone. And they're kind of yelling. And basically the mom hears Sam saying like, he's going to kill me. He's going to kill me.
He's going to kill me.
She freaks out. She books it out of the restaurant. Leaves Max behind eating alone. And in the meantime, between her leaving the restaurant and getting home, Michael convinces Sam not to tell the mom and just to help him figure out what's going on and how to fix things. And so when she gets back, Sam is like, I was just scared of my comic book. And she just thinks her son is the worst.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
I would have been so upset. He does sleep in her room that night wearing a necklace of garlic. Yeah. Which is great. So Max goes home that night dejected and walks up this incredibly long driveway. And I was like, this man must be loaded if this is like the walkway up your house from all your property. Come on. His dog Thorn was crying, and Max gets hit with this bat kite. And I was like, oh my God, he's next. He's the next victim. Because a couple of victims have died at this point, and I just haven't covered it because...
They all dying like the same way, where it's just...
Yeah.
You kind of see a camera,
like
you assume the boys are flying down,
Yeah.
Which they did because they couldn't... It was a lower budget movie, and they were like, we can't afford to do that CGI, so...
Fair enough.
They took notes from the movie Jaws, and
cool.
You know, the less you see, which I think was effective. I mean, we didn't. See, it probably would have been goofier if we saw.
I know. I think sometimes when they show too much, it like ruins.
Yeah.
It. So after realizing he's a vampire, Michael goes back to the Batcave to find Star. She's with the little kid, which is still like this kid hasn't had any speaking lines at this point.
Yeah, he's just there.
He's just there.
This is necessary, to be honest.
So she tells Michael that she can't tell him anything, but for some reason she proceeds to have sex with him in a very intimate way.
It felt...
It's very intimate.
It felt like what the room wanted to have for their sex scene. It was like
what the room wanted.
Your classic 80s sensual, a little cringy.
Panning out and like the fading. And I was like, that is very irresponsible. This impressionable young boy is right there.
Where's this kid? He put him in a different fucking cage.
Right. You put him in like a different curtained off area. Like there are not many walls in this place. Are you guys just having silent, like, you put headphones on? There's no way. Do Walkman even exist at this point? Like,
I think they did.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, it was just a goofy, like, girl, what?
Yeah, I think
I know he's fine, but like, this is not the time or place.
And also, it makes no sense. He literally is like, what's going on? She's like, I can't tell you anything. Why? She later proceeds to tell him everything in like 2 scenes.
Yeah, I don't know if you definitely find out later, but I'll just say it now. Okay. But Star was supposed to kill Michael.
Yes.
So I don't know if maybe she was still thinking maybe that's what she has to do.
She gonna do a post-coital, just like we'll stab her.
I don't know. So maybe that's why she was like, I can't tell you anything, because she was at that point like, I'm probably going to kill him anyway. So
I wasn't sure if it was something that gets brought up in later sequels, because I know they have origin stories and yada yada.
You know, the sequels we don't discuss.
I had a feeling. So that was my deleted scene, because I was like, I can't believe that would, like, a romance scene would be my deleted scene, but I was like, that one had no place.
It didn't add anything at all.
It really didn't. Instead, it just made me feel a little uncomfy.
I felt a little gross.
Yeah.
Like, see Michael topless, I guess. Yeah, so that's cool.
That part was good, but literally all I could think about was this little boy in his face.
Thinking about this poor child.
Yeah. So when Michael gets back home, the grandpa says, looks like I wasn't the only one who got lucky last night, eh? Like, gross, grandpa.
Grandpa.
Come on. No one wants to know. So Lucy goes to give Max a bottle of wine to apologize for leaving their date abruptly. But the dog Thorn tries to eat her, basically, when she goes up this walkway. And he, like, rips part of her skirt. She had to jump over the gate.
Like, terrifying.
It was so scary. Like, this dog was not being a chill. Like, this dog was going to hurt her if she went to the house. So this leads Sam to believe that Max is the head vampire that turned all the others, because of the fact that in his comic book, the Hounds of Hell, they protect the vampires during the day. As such, they just need to kill the leader to free all of the half vampires, which is what Michael is. So Max comes to the house for dinner, which Lucy is making for him and Sam. And he tells Michael as he comes into the house that, Michael, you're the man of the house. I will not come into this house unless you invite me in. And Michael's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And the grandpa sees this all happen and makes a weird face. And I was just like, the grandpa knows something. And it's weird that he's not saying anything. But he's kind of a weird dude. So what are you going to do?
Right. It's like not too questionable, I guess.
Max kisses the mom very intimately.
I know.
It was like,
damn, in her house in front of her son.
I know. And it's like, I don't know, maybe they've been making out in the off camera or whatever, but this is the first like intimacy on camera they've had one date, which you didn't even see them on the date together.
Yeah, it was not even a full date.
No. So it was like,
yeah, I guess they were making out
they
between
had to
the
have been.
DVD aisle.
Yeah, it's not DVD, VHSs.
Oh yeah, that's right. Excuse me.
But yeah, they had to have been, because otherwise it makes no sense. So
that's why I also think like there was a lot of time passed in
Right.
between.
Right.
You know,
That's what I was thinking too. It has to be taking, like, I would assume it'd be weeks, although I don't know how freaking Michael is sustaining himself when he's not drinking blood or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't look great, so
Yeah, he's definitely
I can
going
see
through
time
it.
passing. Yeah.
He's getting weirder and weirder as things go on.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam invited the Frog Brothers to come for dinner, and they proceed to test Max to see if he is a vampire by doing things like giving him grated garlic and pouring water on his up. I don't know, like, I doubt the water was holy water, because I would assume that would have been shown that they did holy water. They just spilled water on his lap, and then they showed his reflection in the mirror. His reflection was fine, which I actually am not sure why his reflection was okay.
I can
tell me later. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay. I mean, spoiler alert. Something happens. Okay.
Yeah, there's something about Max.
So he passes the test, and Max is like, I know what this is. Sam is worried I'm trying to replace his father, blah, blah, blah. Everything's fine. I'm going to leave early because I'm covered in water, but let's try for a third date next time.
And to the mom, she's just seeing her son and his two weird, shitty friends just ruin this for her yet again.
Right. She's recently divorced. I don't know what's happening, but I'm assuming she didn't end out on top with it. It's not great. She's just trying to move on.
Yeah, she's trying her best. She's so cute and sweet.
No.
Like, this poor woman's really going through with her fucking really crazy ass kids.
My God. So Michael and David have a confrontation, and David makes him join them for what ends up being a murder spree on the beach. And so basically there's a bunch of dudes, like surfer dudes. And the only reason I know anything about them is because the subtitle said surfer Nazis. And I don't know, like, they just decided that they were going to be Nazis because there's no memorabilia that you can see.
I don't know if maybe that's like a lingo. I mean, you would never want to be called Nazi, but let's see. Surfer Nazi.
Just surf Nazi.
The expression surf Nazi arose in the 1960s to describe territorial, aggressive, and obsessive surfers, often involved in surf gangs or surf clubs. Okay, so that makes sense because they were all like punk looking.
Okay, so it didn't have anything to do with Nazism?
No.
Okay, well, here I was going, you know what? It's fine. They all died. They were Nazis.
They deserved it. No, just territorial thing. So I guess the term, I mean, if it started in the 60s.
I mean, that was 20. It was like 15 years after.
Yeah, I don't know why they would have used the term Nazi, but
yeah,
whatever.
It's probably pretty lame of them. That's not.
I guess because Nazis were, going into.
I guess so.
Places.
I mean, I guess it didn't. People didn't get super strict about using that word until maybe the 21st century. I don't know. I mean,
we started getting standards.
Yeah, we started realizing what it is to be a human being who like cares about others. Crazy. So we got a glimpse of their final vampire form, and it was pretty creepy. It was not very sexy. Not Twilight-y. The
sex appeal's gone.
Yeah, it was not there. Like, I feel even Dracula was sexier than these vampires. Like,
yeah, because it was. I don't know. They had these really bright yellow contacts and the traditional vampire fangs, but their face kind of scrunched up and got real wrinkly. Like, if you watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it's the same thing, or Dusk Till Dawn, which I don't know if you've seen either. Okay, well,
no.
God damn it, Megan. I don't think you've seen any vampire content other than maybe Twilight.
I gotta look up vampire lore and see what I've
Call
seen.
yourself a vampire girly. What is this?
Listen, I'm a Twilight girly, okay?
That's fair. Twilight's like a different standard.
Yeah, it is. It really
it's
is.
above all this garbage.
Yeah. It sets the bar, let's be honest.
Sophisticated vampire.
Yeah. So Star shows up at the house to confront Michael, where she claims that she tried to convince him not to drink the mystery wine, But this is the extent of her trying to convince him not to drink the mystery wine. You don't have to drink it. It's blood.
Yeah, like, I don't know, because maybe David and the crew would have been like, shut the fuck up, Star. But she was very just like, don't drink it. Please.
Like,
It's blood. And I'm like, why would he believe you?
right. And what
Talking like that.
what is she thinking? Like, is she thinking, why would she have him go back with her to that place in the first place? Because, like, does she want him to also be a half vampire? Because
I don't know.
She
Like I
wants-
said, I don't know if she intended on consuming him.
Consuming him.
I think she liked him, but it was also like, I should probably kill him because I don't know if David would be upset. So I don't know. I think David definitely had a pull on her and she was scared of him. So
Okay, interesting. Well, anyway, I think that she did a terrible job of convincing him.
yeah.
This is when we learned that they need to kill in order to become full vampires.
Which Michael was getting close to with the surf
Yeah.
Nazis, but denied his feral
Urges.
side.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank goodness, because otherwise he would have been a goner.
Yep.
So we learn that David wanted Michael to be Star's first kill, and Michael ends up pushing Star away when he learns this, and she flies off. And Sam yells, "Don't kill anybody until we get back to you." Just Sam's coming out with these bangers left and right. So the brothers, as well as the frogs, join together to get rid of vampires once and for all. They steal the grandpa's prized car and drive to the area where the vampires sleep. They are talking very, very loud inside this cave, which I'm like, I don't care if I know that they sleep during the day. I'm not walking in.
I know.
Talking all
Like,
loud.
y'all are yelling and shit. And like, oh, wow, this is crazy. Like, they should be sleeping over here. And I'm like, hello?
Right. Like, use your inside voices.
They're like, I don't know. I don't know if there's some vampire lore I'm missing, but I'm
Right.
pretty sure they're just sleeping.
And even if they even if there was lore, I would still be on my like most
Yeah.
conscientious and be like, I don't trust anything. I'm gonna be so careful.
Right.
Also, the Frog Brothers are masking their voices to be really deep. They keep talking like this.
Yeah, they were like definitely trying to be, I don't know,
Tough
action
guys.
heroes. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Rambo type of vibe.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so Michael rescues Laddie, the little boy half vampire, and then Star. Meanwhile, the three young boys proceed to enter the lair and stab the smallest vampire while he's dangling from the ceiling, and they get covered in his fluids.
Ugh.
David and the rest of them wake up. They manage to just escape from David's clutches, and we see David get like burned in the sun.
Yeah.
And luckily they got away. And David sheds a tear for his lost brother, and I was like, oh, he does like him. Poor David.
Yeah.
felt for him in that
So,
moment.
funny bit about that scene. So the contacts they had were awful, right? So it would dry the shit out of their eyes. So he actually was crying because of the contact. It
Shut
wasn't like in the
up.
script, but they were like, "This is great! Like it matches the moment." And
my
so his tear was
God.
legit because the contact was like really burning his eye.
Get out.
So it was
I
just
can't imagine acting while your eyes are burning. Like,
I know.
I would be like
that's a real
squinty.
commitment.
Yeah. Like, dude, I literally can't cut onions and like keep a straight face.
I know.
So I don't know how
No.
anyone could.
Absolutely not.
So at this point, you see the blood on their outfits sparkles. Did you see? That has to have been inspiration for Stephanie Meyer.
It's it had to be.
It had
I
to
read
be.
somewhere that they wanted to make the blood a little different.
Yeah,
know,
they
like the
did. It
vampire brothers.
sparkles.
Yeah, it's sparkly.
I was like, glitter. I couldn't believe it. I was just beside myself. The only thing the grandpa says when they return is that the boy should have filled his car up with gas. He sees them covered in this grime. At this point in time, the grandpa is doing a lot of work around the house with some wooden stakes, which is very interesting. Sam tries to convince the mom about what's going on, but she obviously doesn't listen.
Yeah.
Because, you know, your kid's saying that vampires, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
also, who doesn't believe in the closet monster now, Lucy? Like, come on,
Mhm.
lady.
Like,
They're being a
come on,
little
girl.
hypocritical. Come on. They go all home alone on the house.
Oh.
So they set up booby traps all over the house while
Mm-hmm.
Lucy is on a date with Max. We see a horrific foot shot of the vampires. They have basically
Ugh.
bat feet holding on.
It was disgusting.
So gross. I
hated
So
that.
gross. And I'm like, does it like morph into that, or do they always have that
I
feed?
know,
Like they
that's what I was
cannot always have
wondering.
that feed.
I assume
Cannot
it's a
make shoes from
morphing.
that.
There is no way
Okay.
that fits in their shoes. Like,
Their punk boots are not
no,
fitting.
no.
Those disgusting talons.
Oh,
I was
God.
immediately turned off. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, it's like even if they were hot before, they are not anymore.
Yeah, this is not it.
Yeah. The Lost Boys attack the home, so the vampires all attack the house. We learn that garlic doesn't actually work against vampires, but Nanook, the dog, kills one of them by pushing him into holy water,
Yeah.
which then causes all of the pipes in the house to burst and spew vampire blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Ugh, super gross. Another is killed with an arrow. I'm assuming it was like a wooden stick
I think
arrow.
so.
And Laddie goes full vamp mode at one point and almost attacks the frogs.
Yeah.
This house is wrecked, by the way. Its electricity
Yeah.
is gone. Everything's ruined. Like, this is not a livable environment.
It's getting fucked up.
Yeah. David and Michael have a mid-air battle, which Michael wins by throwing him onto some antlers. And at this point, I thought Michael turned full vamp because he made his first kill. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And I was like, what a plot twist. How are they going to come back from this? But it turns out it doesn't count because I guess he didn't feed it from him or whatever.
Yeah, I think I don't know how they picked that up, but I think it has to be like a feed, like you drink your blood kill.
Yes. So Max...
It would have been cool though.
Yeah, I was like, that would have been a really great plot twist. But
Yeah.
anyway, whatever. I'll make my own movie. So... So Max and Lucy show up because Lucy had told Max all about the boys' fears about vampires and stuff. We know at this point that a vampire must remain alive because no one has changed back from their half-vampiric state. Max sees David and then comes clean. David and my boys misbehaved, he said. So we find out that Max is in fact the head vampire and he was after Lucy all along. He wanted to convert her boys to vampires so that she would become a mother to all the lost boys, which is a plot hole because why, if he is the lead vampire and he says, convert these boys to vampires, would David then try to go and kill Michael?
That's fair.
So anyway, let me write to Joel Shoemaker.
Unless David was like, I'm doing whatever I want.
He could have.
I'm my own boss.
And apparently, I saw the spoiler by accident on the fandom page for Kiefer Sutherland's fan page. Basically, he was converted into a vampire by the widow Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess that's not really because Max apparently isn't his main leader then, if that's the case. But
fair.
Yeah. So the widow Johnson is also who the grandpa's been banging on the side. Because I didn't mention that. So Max tries to bite Lucy, but the grandpa ends up running him over with his Jeep that's strapped with wooden stakes. He gets out of the vehicle, opens the fridge, gets his root beer and drinks it, and then proceeds to say that the only thing he doesn't like about Santa Carla is all the vampires. End movie.
Ends.
Movie ends. And then
it's such a good ending.
It's an amazing ending, and they all are like looking at each other like, come on, you couldn't have told us this whole time.
Right. It's like they knew this whole time.
All of this could have been avoided. What the hell?
It's
ridiculous.
So
Also, why would you want to live in a place? Well, he's a weirdo, so it's fine. But
yeah, I mean, you'll finish your wrap up, and then I have little notes.
I can't wait
to discuss.
I'm very excited. The last thing I want to say, because I noticed this as I was watching the credits, that the dogs are both credited and their names are Cody and Folsom.
Oh, they were such good beasts. They were both huskies, I believe.
Were they? Was the one just a pure white one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they were a husky.
So main character, as I said earlier, was an obvious smash. Because come on. Main villain, I said pass, but I gave it a caveat, just not my type, sad face. Because if it was my type, I would have. But it was
I feel like if you were put in the situation and he approached you, you know
what? I feel like David could.
He's like that bad boy, but he is like definitely too bad of a boy.
So that's the thing. So here's where it's like I tried to envision like I'm being hit on by David. I think I would enjoy it, but at the same time, he's like a little too mean. like outwardly like I need a little soft, like a little bit of a soft.
I mean, he could be a little soft.
You
don't know that.
Yeah, that's true.
I
But
don't know that. But he does seem like he's just mean.
yeah, it's just it's
like a dick.
I think it was a little intense, but like
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a challenging decision. I did waffle back and forth for a while before I decided on pass. So it was a challenging decision.
There's some good fan fiction out there.
There's
that
no
might have like another
in my
side
mind
for him.
Maybe I'll go on AO3 later and see what the fans have to say.
See what's out there, you know?
Yeah. Just learn a little. So, how likely are you to survive in this situation? 8.5. Okay. I feel very confident that I would not drink mystery juice. Like, if it was me, I would never have gone into the cave. Well, maybe I would have. But you know what? Because I've made bad decisions in my life. Like I said, it's amazing I've lived to 30.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would drink the mystery beverage. I feel like I would have been able to go in and have a little bit more strategy in the attack. So I feel like I could have accomplished that a little bit better. But I like to leave a little room for error because I'm, again,
that's fair.
Chaotic. So would you recommend to a non-horror fan? Yes. It was definitely more comedy, very funny. Mm-hmm. I think it was a good time. Okay, I mentioned all my things of note, so I will give you my final rating, which was based on the fact that it was more of like a cult classic film. So I do think that there's a lot of plot holes. There's a lot of things that kind of were left a little bit to be desired. I think that the comedy really raised it for me. And if the comedy was less, it probably would have ranked around the same as Disturbing Behaviors. However, because the comedy was so high, I did give it a 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah. I just found it very enjoyable. I thought it was goofy as hell, and it was a good time.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, Lost Boys is just fun. Yeah. Like I said, the kids are so funny. You know, the guy who played Corey and then like the Frog Brothers, they really like brought it. Like they are the most enjoyable part of the movie. Obviously, Michael's good to look at and the vampires, but like we really want the kids that are
it's like
shitty vampire hunters.
It's like Stranger Things vibes. You know, you're there for them.
Yeah, you're there for the kicks. So okay, so the whole thing about Max, he was invited in, and when you are invited in, everything, like all their abilities and stuff, like they lose all their power. So that's why he passed all the tests, because he was invited in by Michael. He was not invited in.
He did say at one point, "You have no power over me," because of the fact that they invited him in, and I just didn't connect the.
Yeah. So that was the one thing. So the grandfather, I think it was proven that he used to be a vampire hunter.
Oh, that makes sense.
So that's why he's like not super fazed by vampires, because he used to hunt them, and so he's like, okay, whatever. But there's theory that he's a half vampire. I don't know how valid that is, but they said that like his root beer drinks is blood. Maybe the taxidermy, he gets blood from the animals. That's just a theory. I don't know if it's accurate, but it is. He used to be a vampire hunter. And then there's a whole thing with Widow Johnson that apparently like Johnson's husband was a vampire that he killed. Something like that. I think they go more into it in the one sequel, because David did not actually die. You notice all the vampires faded and like disintegrated, and David was not stabbed with a wooden stake. He was stabbed with antlers.
I was thinking that. I was like, it's weird that it was the antlers and that he was dead.
Yeah. So he did not actually die. So Santa Carla takes place in Santa Cruz, obviously, and it was plagued. So in the beginning of the movie, when they're driving past the billboard in the back, it says murder capital of the world. That's accurate, because you might know this, but there were a series of very brutal murders by 3 different disturbed men in the early 70s.
Yeah, I am familiar.
So Santa Cruz endured 28 murders over a 30-month period between 1970 and 1973, which is fucking crazy.
That's so scary.
I think they also were told to change the name because they didn't want Santa Cruz to be shown like, vampires and murder, even though you obviously know where this takes place.
Right.
Kiefer Sutherland's role as David, he had the fewest lines amongst all leading and supporting cast members. At the time. He did have the most dialogue amongst the vampires, but like amongst the all leading cast, like he had the least.
I was gonna say some of the vampires didn't talk at all, so I was confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which is funny because I think he's the most memorable person from this movie, and he did a good job with barely any lines. Characters in the movie say the name Michael approximately 118 times.
Shut up!
There's so many moments where you hear he's like having weird visions, and it's like Michael, Michael, Michael. So yeah, so that's really funny. So I brought up Buffy the Vampire Slayer before because that show was very influenced by this movie. And if you watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you would know.
You would see that influence. Some episodes, but not
okay.
Many.
Yeah, so like the way they change faces when they go more vamp mode, some of the quotes and stuff. And then the other thing is, which I didn't notice or realize until this time that I watched it, but it's called The Lost Boys because it's a take on The Lost Boys
from Neverland.
I was waiting, and I just never put two and two together.
I was waiting for an explanation. I got like them flying. They don't have a mom.
Right.
But I was like waiting for more connections. I guess she would be Wendy, but like
Wendy,
but Wendy is more like, I mean, that would be
it's very loose. Yeah.
Okay,
I think it was mostly the idea of like I think it's mostly the idea of like boys never growing up. And originally the script was actual boys instead of teenagers. So it's a group of boys that are vampires, and like Star was supposed to be another little boy that Michael meets. So it's more like kind of Stranger Things kind of vibe. But then people who were like working on it, I forget, like another screenwriter or producer was like, I hate this. Like making teenagers, make it sexy. And I think it worked out better that they were teenagers because, I mean, I think it would have been too much like Goonies type of vibe, which Goonies is great. But,
but like also killing off children is probably less fun.
Yeah, not the vibe. I think there were a lot of fun kid movies around this time, and I think doing one with teenagers and still having some of that kid fun and goofiness in it helped it a lot. So
the never growing old thing, that makes sense.
But yeah, I was like, oh, that makes sense. I never questioned why they were called Lost Boys. I just figured, you know, they didn't have a home. They were lost. Lost in the caves of Santa Carla.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Anyway, Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Time.
The movie I'm picking out for you next week, Sandra Bullock is the lead character in the movie The Proposal. So this is so good. I did my rewatch this week because I was like, I just wanted a comfort movie.
So early.
Yeah. So The Proposal is a story of a woman who is a head honcho editor at a book publisher company who is about to be deported to Canada unless she can get married ASAP. So what does she do but blackmail her assistant, the swarthy is not a good word for him in this movie, the very attractive Ryan Reynolds, who was 33 at the filming of this, so right around.
Really?
Yes,
oh my God.
I know.
Almost our age.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, that's on brand. Frozen in time.
A different viewing now that I'm older.
Yes, exactly. So they end up going to Alaska to meet his family and play out this fake relationship. Hijinks occur and love might just spark. Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows? You do, since you actually have seen this one.
Yep, I do. It's been a long time. I must have been a teenager last time I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, it came out like ages ago. So I think it was like 13 years ago or something like that.
So I think it's still going to hold up very well. You know, I'll go into it with a mindset of
positivity. Yeah. There's a couple of things that I was like, but
I don't think it's going to ruin it for me.
No, I don't think it will.
Just, you know,
just stay lighthearted with it. We'll put our trigger warnings up, you know.
I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
And you can make a decision on
what you feel. And then don't judge it. No one will be allowed to judge you based on your rating, which will be quite high, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
All right, close us out, dude.
Me again? All right.
Yeah, because I did all the talking this episode. Sorry. I can close it if you
Fine.
want. I can close it if you want.
No, you can find us on Instagram. We have a milkshake link on there, and it's got links to other fun things like a Discord, and we have an email. Everything is how do you watch this or how do you watch on TikTok, and we will post one day.
Yep.
And it's gonna be really, really cool.
I made the app. I actually opened Canva to start something. That's as far as it went. Like, it stopped at opening Canva, but I got there. So I feel like we're getting closer.
We're getting there.
Yeah,
we're getting close.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start posting stuff again, and so
I'll be so excited about
check
me
us out.
too. Just keep looking and see, like, did they do it yet? Did they do it yet? We're trying to keep
out of curiosity, you should just look every day.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, and like everything and follow and send it to your friends.
Like everything.
Yeah, and threaten your family members to also watch it, and
you can now repost on TikTok. So just repost our meme videos,
please. They're so funny.
They are so funny.
Yeah, we're really funny. Okay.
So anyway, that's us. Next week, romance.
Hell yeah. People don't listen to the freaking romance.
Anyway, goodbye.